Hello student, welcome to YouTube channel initiated by Gnanmanjari Modern School. We are dealing with this honeysuckle book and 2 units we have completed. In last session you have seen unit number 3, halfly we have completed up to paragraph number 9. We did. So today we will deal paragraph number 10, 11, 12 and 13, and time will permit us, then we will go for poem number 1. So I am here with this book on page number 32, paragraph number 10. This is to inform you that while you are watching this video, please keep this textbook with you so that you can learn or you can understand this unit very easily. So I am reading paragraph number 10. Next morning, Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. So what happened up to this? Let me revise shortly. Taro was a person who always listened to his family, means his parents. He was very poor and hardworking person, and his father was feeling cold and they couldn't afford that sake drink. So when he was woodcutter, even by selling wood and by chopping wood he just earned money. So when that wind began to blow, at that time his father was feeling cold, and when his father was feeling cold he needed sake, but that sake drink is very expensive, so they could not afford that. So one day what happened, Taro went to that forest, and when he was chopping his wood he just heard one sound, and that sound was the sound of stream. There was a small stream that that stream was there, and just Taro went there and he just tasted. He was so thirsty, so he just tasted that and he drank that water, and as soon as he drank that water it was tasted like sake. He was very happy, so he just filled his pot with that water, and he gave that water to his father, and his father became energized. His father energized with that drink. Up to this we have did, and that rumor spread in the village, and villagers also were there before that house of sake, that house of that Taro to just take sake. So this is we have done up to this. Now let's do that paragraph number 10. Next morning Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. So he now decided to work more hard, and he just started for work earlier than the morning before. He carried with him the largest pitcher he owned. So this time what happened, he carried a large pitcher with him so that he could fill that pitcher with that sake. For he intended first of all to go to the waterfall, and he had that intention. He wanted to go for that waterfall, that stream. And what was the intention? He wanted to fill that large pitcher of him with sake. So here we got one word, that is intended, and intended means planned. So he just planned to get more sake. When he reached it, he found to his great surprise all his neighbors there. So when he reached near that waterfall, what did he see? He saw that there were many people in the line to get that sake drink. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic sake. So what was the purpose of those people who were there standing in the line? And they were just wanting that sake drink, and they had there all the pitchers, jars, buckets and everything. In the picture we can see that there were many people with many that pots and pitchers. Then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. Now what happened? There was a stream flowing from upper side of the rock. So one person knelt down. Knelt down means he just sat on his knee. He knelt down and he started drinking that water which was flowing from that stream. He drank again and again and then shouted angrily, "Water, nothing but water." Others also tried, but there was no sake, only cold water. So what happened when that person was knelt down to drink that water, drink that sake, at that time he became angry. He was shouting, and what was he shouted? That man shouted angrily, and what did he shout? He shouted, "Water, nothing but water." It means that stream water tasted him only water. It didn't taste him like sake. Others also tried, but there was no sake, only cold water. And after that man, many people also tasted that stream water, and they also got the same taste. Means that water didn't taste like sake. So what was the magic? What happened with that taro? When taro tasted that water, it tasted like sake. When these villagers tasted that water, it didn't taste like sake. So it was a magic, wasn't it? Let's see. Paragraph number 11 on page number 33, I am reading. "We have been tricked," shouted the villagers. Villagers got angry and they started shouting, and they were in that mood of fighting. And with whom they are going to fight? They were going to fight with Taro. Because of Taro told them that there was a stream of sake in the forest. That's why they all came with their pitchers and with their buckets and everything. And now what happened? They didn't get any sake. It was just called water, and that's why they became angry. So they just told that we have been tricked. Means they thought that they had been tricked. Tricked means here deceived. You can say cheat. So though they told that Taro cheated them, they felt that kind of feeling. But Taro had been wise enough to slip behind a rock. When he saw how things were going, he was nowhere to be found. Let the train pass, friend. Okay, so the villagers became angry, and when Taro saw those villagers in angry mood, he hid himself into the rock. Otherwise those villagers will harm him. He was very wise, so he just slipped behind a rock. When he saw how things were going, he was nowhere to be found. Everybody was finding Taro, everybody was searching Taro, but Taro couldn't be found because he just hid himself behind the rock. Now paragraph number 12, I am reading. Muttering their anger and disappointment, the villagers left the place one by one. So what happened here? We got one word, students, that is muttering. Muttering means speaking unclearly. Means when we talk very slowly without anyone's attention, that is called muttering. So here people were in anger and they were muttering, and they were disappointment. They were in disappointment. Disappointment means sadness, unhappiness. You can say displeasure even. So they all became sad as they didn't get any sake drink. The villagers left the place one by one, and they just left that place, that forest one by one. They went back to their houses. Taro came out from his hiding place. Was it true? He wondered. Now when those people went to their houses, Taro came out from that rock where he was hiding himself. So he was thinking, he was in surprise that was it true? Because when he tasted that water at that time, it was tasted like sake, and when people tasted that water, it was just cold water. So what was the mystery? What was the puzzle? Taro was thinking about that. Once more he caught a little liquid in his hand and put it to his lips. So he wanted to taste that water again. So he just took that little water into his pitcher and he tasted it, and it was the same fine sake, and it was again sake. It was tasted like sake, and when villagers tasted it, it wasn't sake, it was cold water. So now that the Taro became more surprised that what was the thing actually. To the thoughtful son, the magic waterfall gave the delicious sake. To everyone else, it gave only cold water. So the mystery is revealed here in this last line of paragraph number 12. Now what happened to the thoughtful son? See, to the thoughtful son means we are talking about here Taro. It was sake, means that stream water. For others, it was only cold water. So this is the difference. Where we find difference? Here. Thoughtful means he was very sincere, he was hardworking, he always listened his parents, he was obedient. So these all good qualities of Taro gave him sake drink, and these people are not like Taro. So those people didn't get sake. So that water didn't taste like sake to those people. So this is the difference of that stream water. Now moving to paragraph number 13. That is the last paragraph. The story of Taro and his magic waterfall reached the emperor of Japan. As you are told that this is a story of Japan. It is Japanese story. So this magical waterfall story reached to Japanese king. So there was a king and who heard this story of magic rainfall. He sent for the young woodcutter. Sent for means called. Means this Taro was called by the king to his kingdom, to his palace, and rewarded him with 20 pieces of gold. And king rewarded him 20 pieces of gold. And why did he reward Taro for that 20 pieces of gold? Because that stream which was found, means which was searched by Taro, was sake drink only for that Taro. So king realized that Taro was indeed an obedient son. So king wanted their all children of town to be like Taro. That's why he rewarded Taro for his good qualities. And then he named the most beautiful fountain in the city after Taro. And second thing that king did for Taro is he just named that beautiful fountain of the town after Taro. Means he gave Taro's name to that fountain. This, said the emperor, was to encourage all children to honor and obey their parents. And why did he do this? Because he wanted all the children of the town to be like Taro, to be like obedient Taro, and that king also wanted their children of town to honor their parents. So this is our story of Taro's reward, and now we have that idea that which reward we are talking about Taro. So here we get very beautiful moral, and that moral we get through the character of Taro. So what are the good qualities of Taro, that I am writing here. Before that, you have some time to note down these 5 new words. So what are the good qualities of Taro? So the good qualities are, first, he was very wise, he was obedient, he always listened his parents. It might be asked that describe the qualities of Taro. So here are the good qualities of Taro. So first, he was a good person. Secondly, he was a hard-working son. Third is, he always obeyed his parents. Number 4, he always respected his parents. And number 5 is, he was loyal, faithful and sincere, or we can say kind. So these are the good qualities we got from this unit of Taro, and because of these qualities Taro got reward. What reward he got? He just got 20 pieces of gold from the king. After that, another reward he got is that fountain name, means there was a fountain in the palace, and the king gave the Taro name to that fountain. And the most important thing he got because of his quality, good quality, is that drink sake, that magical stream or that sake drink. So this we have learnt from this unit. So just try to apply these things to your life even. So we have ended here this unit number 3, and now it's time to give you homework. So your today's homework is, these new words you have to write. Today we have discussed I think 5 or 6 new words. So those new words you have to write in your book. Now if time will permit us, we will go for new poem. You have some time to note down this thing. Okay students, so we have ended that unit number 3, Taro's reward, and as I told you that now we have time, so we can do this poem number 1. This poem number 1 is on page number 15. The poem is A House, a Home. The name of the poem is that. It is very short poem, so we can conclude this poem or we can complete this poem in this session. Let's start it. Let's see what the poem is about. What is the difference between a house and home? Now let me ask you, what is the difference between house and home? Generally there is no difference. We can say our home, a house, a home. So there is no difference between house and home. There is there? Yes, there is a difference between house and home. Discuss it with your partner, read the poem. So let's see what is the difference between house and home. So this poem is divided into 2 stanzas. First stanza will deal with house and second stanza will deal with home. So we will get different qualities of house and home through this poem. Let's see. What is a house? It's brick and stone and wood that's hard, some window glass and perhaps a yard. It's eaves and chimneys and the floors and stucco and roof and lots of door. So these all qualities we find in our house. Let's see these qualities one by one. What is a house? It's brick and stone. So let me write here. We'll write like this. See, house and home. So what is there in the house? In the house you will find brick and stone. So this is in our house. So the building which is built with brick and stone is called house, and wood, that's hard. Another quality we find in this is wood, and that wood is very hard. So house which is building which is made of wood is house. Some window glass, some window glass. So this is also there in the house. Perhaps a yard. Okay, let me that. Another quality of house is a yard. A yard means courtyard. That front part of our house. Okay. Next is its eaves and chimneys. See, eaves means the lower border of the roof. So that is there in the house. So we have here eaves. Now chimneys we find in house. So chimney, I am writing here. Chimneys. Next is and tile floor. You will find tiled floor and stucco. Stucco means a fine plaster used in decoration. So that plaster is also there in the house. So I'll write plaster instead of stucco. And roof and lots of door. Roof and doors. So these are the materials we needed to build a house. Let me give you that idea how we can use. See, these are the material we need to build a house, and when you have this material with a building, that is called house. So you have brick, stone in your house, wood that is hard in your house, window glass in your house, yard, that courtyard, eaves, that is the lower border of the roof, chimneys, tiled floor, plaster, roof, doors and doors and windows and everything. So these are materialistic things, or we can say these are the materials which build house. Only house, not home. So if you have these things and if you start building your house, so when that building will be completed, that is called house, that is not called home. So what is called home? Let's see. But before you have some time to note down this thing, please note down this. Okay students, now we will discuss about home. See, these are the qualities of house. Okay, these are house quality. Now we will discuss about home, means which are the things which help us to make our house home. Let's see. Okay, second stanza I am reading. What is a home? It's loving and family and doing for others. It's brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers. It's unselfish acts and kindly sharing and showing your loved ones you are always caring. So this quality we need to make our house home. So what are those quality, or what are the ingredients to make our home type of dish very tasty? Let's see. It's loving and family. So first thing we have for home is it's loving family. See, you can note the difference. Here we don't have family. Here in home we have family. This is the difference. Secondly, doing for others. Means they all are kind people in the home, while we have no people in the house. Number 3, it's brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers. It means family members. You all have parents and brother and sister. It's unselfish acts and kindly sharing. So all were very kind to each other, all shared their grief and happiness to each other. So unselfish act and kind sharing makes house home. Another thing is showing your loved ones you are always caring. So you will find care, love, kindness, compassion. These are the qualities which make our house home. See, these black marker words are house words and these blue marker words are home words. Means home words. Let's see what is the magic here. See, when you have a building with brick and door and glass and wood and furniture and everything, that building is called house. But when you have family, in family, when you have that kind of people, when you have family members, in that family people share their things very kindly, people act unselfishly, people care for each other, people love to each other, people have kindness to each other, and people have compassion to each other. Those things and this kind of atmosphere is called home. While you won't find anything, any kind of this quality into house, while this home is beautiful. So where would you like to be? Where would you like to live? In house or in home? Of course we like to live in home, not house. We don't need any building with this door and window and glass window and wood and everything. No. We always like to live in home where we have our parents, where we have our brother, sister, when we care each other, when we love each other, when we have concern for each other, and when we have our family members, and when we act unselfishly, or when we all are living together with kindness and with compassion. So this is the difference between home and house. Very small but very beautiful poem it is. So now consider your building, a house or home. What is your building where you are living? You are living in a house or you are living in a home? Ask this question to yourself and you will get your answer. Generally we all have answer home. We all have home, not only house. So we will pray that everybody will get home, not only house. So this is our poem, Home, a house and a home. Very beautifully it is described. Lorian M. Halley has written this poem very beautifully. I hope you enjoyed this poem. Short but sweet poem it is. So now we have ended this poem number 1, a house, a home. You have some time to note down this thing, and you have to note down this thing, this difference between home and house. Please note down this. Okay students, so we have ended our poem and unit number 3 here. Now I will give you one homework kind of activity. Don't worry, it is not written activity. You have to just note down the things which you have in your home. Okay, so your activity is see, very interesting activity I got just now. So, I will give you this. This is your activity, not homework. Homework I have given you. Just write 5 good qualities of your parents. You can write 5 qualities of your brother and sister even. So this will give you pleasure. I hope so. So now this is for today. We'll meet again in next video. Till then, take care. Thank you.